The SUV has been a staple on UK roads for many years, and back in 1995 you'd have seen the first gen of this. It was practical, it was versatile, and it was developed for European roads. This is the 5th generation, the all-new Kia Sportage. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. This is now on the N3 platform. It's longer, it's wider, and it's taller. Well, it's certainly changed a bit since the first gen. I mean, just look at the new Tiger Nose grille. This is completely different to anything that we've seen. And design language, well, it's certainly going down the new Sorento and EV6 route, and that's a really good thing. And because this is a hybrid, the batteries are stored under the rear seat, which means it doesn't really eat into any of the cabin space. So realistically, you could say it's got the same kind of practicality as a petrol model. There's 16 variations. Now, yep, no diesel, but you've got petrols, mild hybrids, and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles too. Now, prices start at just under 30,000 and go well over 40. For that, you could get a GT-Line S with all-wheel drive and something called DriveWise. That's their new safety system, and that's across the full range. But always bear in mind, it depends on the trim level to what features you get. This is a GT-Line S. Under the bonnet we've got a 1.6 T-GDi engine, an electric motor and a battery, and that's coupled to a drive-by-wire 6-speed automatic box, and that'll develop 226 brake horsepower. And if you do want to go adventuring, well, it's the perfect family vehicle. Now, economy in something like this, you'd think, well, what, 35 to 40? Well, it's closer to 50. And the other thing is, it still pulls 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds. But that's the beauty of a petrol engine and an electric motor. So the way the technology works in this is, when you coast, it regens. So it puts power back into the battery, and that makes it more economical. It also runs in electric mode in certain situations, like manoeuvring, low speeds, etc, etc. Design language is spot on. I mean, just look at the flow around the daytime running lights. This chunky bumper. It's just got a really, I suppose it's a commanding front. And I'm a real fan of this new grille structure. Satin black gloss and the insert silver here. Partial clamshell bonnet and black accents that run and surround things like the daytime running lights. And even on this bottom lip, you've got driving lights here, but they're hidden. And that's the thing about this, it's tastefully designed. Nothing's over the top. It just looks right. Now, I'd be stood here for literally hours and hours and hours if I was going to tell you every configuration on every variant. So the best bet is go to Kia, have a play around with a configurator, and you'll see exactly what you get. In a nutshell, we've got adaptive cruise control, matrix lights, LED front and rear, parking sensors, blind spot detection, 360 camera, and I'm sure there's way more, to be honest. But we'll take a deeper look at that in the driving section. If this is the shape of Kia's to come, I'm rather excited. Now, as we have the GT-Line S, we've got some extras. For example, we have a black roof, black A-pillar and B-pillar, and partial C-pillar. And just look at the black arches that surround the wheels. Now, these are 18s, but you can get anything from 17s to 19s. And we've got decent profile tyre. That means it's comfortable on-road and off-road. Doors that cover the sills. And there's not what you call side skirts, but you do have this styling down here. One feature I always like to see on a car is quarter lights. Now we've got power folding door mirrors with blind spot detection, and this has got a rather advanced system, and it displays on the cluster and you can see the side of your vehicle. Black roof bars, a massive panoramic with a blind, and keyless entry. I'm a fan of this dark chrome too. Let's take a look inside. Door opens nice and wide. Straight away, premium materials throughout. Soft touches, the design language, the shaping, and as I can see here, I've got memory function on my electric seat. And even the passenger gets an electric seat too. Also, in addition on the GT line and a couple of other trims, is the Harman Kardon premium sound system, and it does sound nice. No grab handle. Now, the last thing I expected to see when I stepped in here was the screens out of the EV6. It shows you your navigation, it shows you what your hybrid system's doing, No, this has seriously changed. I mean, if you think back to the previous gen, you just had analog clocks and an infotainment system. But the way it's all just reshaped, done so well, premium materials throughout, but the build quality's there as well. I mean, this centre console, yeah, I've got some big chunky hard plastics, but it means that it's nice and strong. In the centre, an armrest, just gives you a fair bit of extra storage. The stalks have got a nice feel to them, and I've got paddles on the back of the steering wheel. Leather up, flat bottomed, and GT-Line in red and black. Gotta love that. As for your handbrake, it was operated here. The piano black, the shaping round the vents. Nice and simple to use. And this material here, it's almost like the checker plating that you got in old rally cars, but far more premium and refined. Very, very cool indeed. Rotary dials left, right and centre. And I'm just going to go on about this button for a second. Let's say the battery's flat. What it does is offload the power from the hybrid system back into your 12 volt, and it does it pretty much instantaneously. Racing pedals, and you've got a footrest too. Everything's straightforward, easy to use, and literally once you've been sat in here say 5 minutes, you know exactly where everything is and how to use it. The infotainment system's nice and easy to use, it's responsive, and it's got lots of functionality including Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation. It's nice that the media system can be controlled with this rotary dial. So you literally just turn this for the volume, and then if you press it, you can turn off the climate control. And all this is touch sensitive. Works very well. It's also tri-zone. There's nothing that you have to wade through screens for. Heated and ventilated seats. You can even heat your steering wheel. Reach and rake, and the controls and switchgear feel really good. Black headliner, it just puts you in that sporty mood. And then that's complemented with black premium seats with GT-Line embossed here. They're supportive, they're comfortable. Drive mode's down here with another rotary. Operate your camera. You've even got hill descent control. An auto hold, I like this. More piano black, it looks great, but the other thing is, like the screen, it will highlight fingerprints, but that doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things you get used to, and let's face it, most of the vehicles nowadays have big screens and piano black. Got cup holders here, and if you press this button, we've got a wireless charger, 12 volt socket, USB, glove compartment. Wow, nothing in it in a decent size. That's a rarity in today's world. Let's take a look in the rear. The door opens nice and wide, and this is a decent opening too. Stepping in, no problem. I don't really need to dip my head either. Premium materials throughout. Now, yep, hard plastic at the top, but it's nice to see the same trim and styling that you see on the front doors. Ooh, velvety, or velveteen, very Transvision vamp. Now that takes you back. Look at that for legroom. And bear in mind, this is set for me at 6'3". I can get my feet under the seats, and there's a recess here. There's even, there's a coat hook. Wow. Now the fact is, the Kia Sportage is now on a completely new platform, and you can tell it's far more spacious inside. It's better trimmed. You've got more legroom, you've got more footroom. Low transmission tunnel in the centre. And these are even slimmer than the previous gen, which means that gives you even more legroom. Everything's been thought about. As for headroom, well, even if you were 6'5", if you fully reclined it, it's not going to be a challenge. But at 6'3", no, it's perfectly fine, even with a panoramic. Perforated premium finishes, pull-down armrest, and it's comfortable. Cup holders and USBs built into the rear of the seats. I can even adjust my air conditioning, and I've got a storage point there. Isofix points, airbags, and this blind goes all the way back to here, so I've got lots of extra light. And look, grab handles above every door bar the driver's. Solid build quality, lots of practicality, and it's refined very nicely. Recline, or if I bring it further forward, I can then increase boot space. Because we've got the GT-Line, I even get a heated rear seat. The rear in a nutshell reminds me of the EV6. The flow of this, even the shaping here, the way that the EV6 bar went all the way across. And I hoped it'd be on the Sportage, but no, However, like this, they look very minimalist. The combination of straight angles and curvature makes for a rather impressive looking SUV. Reversing camera, parking sensors, a high level brake light, shark fin aerial. As ours is the GT-Line S, we also get this in silver. And with every Kia, a 7-year warranty. Let's take a look in the boot. No boot lip, decent size, and extra storage under here, and the tyre inflation kit. So yep, no spare wheel. Tethering points and a 12-volt socket. You quite easily get your shopping in there and some luggage. It's quite a deep boot. A lot of cars like this, normally this is far narrower, but it's quite deep and it's quite tall. Extremely easy to remove. You just literally pull in this end and yada yada. And like every other Kia, you can then fit from here to here. Look at that. Dropping the seats is nice and simple. Literally pull this. Oh, there's a shopping bag hook. Well, this seriously increases the space. And look, no gap between the carpet. It doesn't lay entirely flat, but it's pretty damn close. And also, it's locked in place, so that's nice and safe. The way you release it is, dun dun dun, pull the lever on the side where you recline the seat. That is a decent space. Hybrid powertrain and lots of orange. Nice and easy to see where to top up your fluids. It would have been nice to see struts, but all that adds excess weight, so I kind of understand. Plus it also increases costs, and this does it perfectly. Let's reverse it. Engage. Breathe. So it's only running the engine, it's not actually using it to accelerate. The perfect way to get out of any parking spot. Welcome behind the wheel of the all-new Kia Sportage. Under the bonnet we've got a 1.6 T-GDi engine, it's 4-cylinder and it's turbocharged, and because we've got a hybrid we've also got an electric motor, 44 kilowatts, battery as well, with 72 cells, and that's housed under the rear seat so it doesn't eat into cabin space, and that's about 50 brake horsepower. Now when you look at the petrol engine, that's closer to 176. Combine that and you end up with 226 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in around 7.7 seconds. As for going up hills, wow, it just flies up them literally. Joining motorways, absolutely no problem, and it'll cruise along an A road quite happily. It's even got a top speed of 120 miles an hour. Handling. Well, considering it's an SUV, you'd think, ooh, a lot of body roll, but there isn't. Yeah, you're going to get a bit, especially if you go hooning into a corner. But on a country lane, it's quite an engaging experience. Now when it comes to the gearbox, we've got a 6-speed automatic and it's drive-by-wire, which means the whole system takes up less space than say a previous gen. Also makes it lighter. Currently just cruising around the country lanes and I'm getting 42.3. But that's because I've got a left foot, so periodically I'll just keep blipping it and that's what keeps it down. Well, on an eco run, you'll get well over 50. And if you look at the screen, you can see exactly what the hybrid powertrain is doing. So you don't charge this, and it's not mild either. It's agile, it's fun, and it's got some decent pull. Engine noise, well, there's not too much of it unless you floor it. But if you do normal acceleration, it's rather refined. No wind noise to speak of. And you can hear a bit of tyre noise, but that's because most of the time this is trying to run in electric. So as soon as you back off, it starts coasting, and it's really easy to see when it does that, because you've got your dial here, and it just goes straight into charge, which is blue. Everything's nice and clear and easy to read. The suspension's comfortable, even on these pothole-ridden roads. The other thing about it is, it's not too stiff, so no excess body roll, it's not wallowy, it's just comfortable for driver and passenger, but it's still engaging. Going up hills, absolutely no problem, because you've got your turbocharged engine and an electric motor. It pulls like a train, literally. Steering, nice and direct, weightens up nicely on a back road. But it's nice and light for manoeuvring. You've got 2 driving modes, efficiency and sport. As you'd expect, sport just tightens everything up, and it is pretty damn quick. Safety, well, you've got drive-wise on this. It makes for a rather safe drive. You've got adaptive cruise control with stop go, collision detection, cameras in your cluster when you're indicating, AEB, blind spot detection. It also displays the side view, rear cross traffic alert, and the list goes on. And even in windy conditions, it holds itself well because it's got things like lane keep assist. Now the new breed of Sportage is something else. Visibility all round is generally good. Decent big windscreen and side windows. Yeah, there is a bit of a blind spot on the speed pillar, but with blind spot detection like we've got, that's just not a problem. Reversing, well, it's a decent back window to be honest. Good strong brakes, discs all round, and you've got an auto hold for the handbrake, but I tend to just disable that because the car can do it itself quite easily. The system works very well. It uses a petrol engine when it needs it, but most of the time it will try and do as much as it can in electric mode. Which makes for a very pleasant drive. But you've still got that performance if you need it. So yeah, great vehicle to go on holiday. It's spacious, it's comfortable, it's a decent price, and there's about 16 variations as I mentioned. This retails for around 40 grand, but it's well worth the money. And just think, they start at 27,000. It's very orientated for the family, it's practical, it's engaging, and the drive system works exceptionally well.